So today's class is focused on yoga for winter, and that probably means a lot of different things to different people. I know just in preparing for having some snow or wet, kind of potentially icy weather, a lot of us start thinking about like, oh, shoveling. And like immediately when I start thinking about shoveling, my low back starts to tense up. So we have to take care of our backs, certainly. I think about ice and all the accidents that happen, the falls that happen around slipping on ice and icy weather. So that we'll talk about that and like how just being really grounded, knowing your foundation, your roots as you move through your day and being mindful of that, not forgetting like, oh, I have to really be mindful of my center of gravity when I step out of the car or when I step onto the granite path. Um, and then obviously for all the skiers here that we want to be strong and ready for ski season. So knee health is a big one, and just all around knees, back, shoulders. We want to be strong and healthy. So that's the focus of class today, and we will be building in some heat. Just that's another part of moving into the winter is finding opportunities to bring that cleansing heat into our practice. So we'll do that, and always with the invitation to modify this class as it suits you. So there may be some things that I'm leading today that absolutely don't work in your body if you have things going on with your knees or your low back. So please take care, modify, use your wisdom to choose what works for you. There will be a number of poses today where it might be helpful to be near a wall or a chair or something just for balance. So yeah, and then before we center, I'll just bring out my favorite visual again, the three-dimensional orb. um, we'll be talking about this in our centering when we are thinking about breath. And I've been thinking about how this, thinking about the inhale and expansion, and on the exhale, the breath is coming back to a central point. And think about when we get into the breath practice, where that central point is for you. Is it your heart? Is it your solar plexus, like right above your belly button, your navel center there? Because for me, that my central point does land about there when I think about breath and stability. So we'll be playing with that a lot today. So yeah, so inhaling and expansion, three-dimensional expansion, and exhaling, returning to that central point. So let's all find a comfortable spot on our mats, allowing your eyes to close. Feeling right away your spine lengthening on your seat, allowing yourself to have enough of a lift under your seat so that your spine can straighten comfortably and your head rests over your shoulders, shoulders over hips. And with this strong foundation here, right at the beginning of our practice, this allows our lungs to expand and really feel the breath from this strong foundation. So without forcing or changing your breath too much, just begin to visualize that expansion on the inhale, three-dimensionally throughout your torso. And that on the exhale, everything comes together to a central point You might picture that point being filled with light, so that as you inhale, the light expands. And on the exhale, everything comes back together. Maybe beginning to feel the breath arrive more deeply into your low lungs. Feeling everything relax around this expansion of the breath. Notice if you're holding any tension in your jaw and your neck, shoulders, hips, legs or feet, especially your belly. Sometimes when we bring attention to our breath, we tighten in the belly, or for many of us, we just are constantly tightening through the belly. So inviting a dropping down and relaxing in the belly that allows the breath to arrive more fully. And then bringing your hands to your heart center, allowing your chin to drop slightly towards your chest. Bringing to mind an intention that you might have for our practice this morning. Maybe that you hope to carry with you throughout the day or the next few days. And then we'll open our practice with the sound of Om today. Feel free to chant along with me or just receive the sound. We'll take a full round of breath, inhaling and exhaling, and then we'll inhale to Om. So inhaling, exhale, inhaling to Om. Om. Imagining the vibration of our chant of this sacred sound of Om, joining with each other's Oms throughout our different geographic areas in the ether. Let's inhale, arms lift towards the sky, and exhale, hands come through heart center, chin drops to chest, hands release, and then big inhale, lifting up, and exhale, hands coming through heart center. You can keep your eyes closed for this, make it like a meditation in motion. We're moving our bodies, but we're connected to that Om, the vibration, and our breath. integrating both the spiritual, emotional with the physical breath and physical movement. And then releasing your hands. Let's just take some time to explore opening in the neck any way that would feel just right for you this morning. Noticing if you can connect your breath to your movements in a way that seems natural. When I plan these yoga classes, I just can't get away from doing the things that I really love to do to start my day. So a home yoga practice could just be, doing a few neck rolls in the morning when you first wake up. Start to begin to explore a little more movement as you're opening the neck, maybe adding some movement in the shoulders as you rotate your head from side to side. Begin to add some larger movements, maybe finding your way into a side stretch where you're opening the shoulder with some big circles of the arm. And really, once you find a movement that just feels right in your body, really take the time to slow it down and explore. So often we think like, oh, we have to just move through these yoga postures just as the teacher is describing, when there's so much to explore, right? And some of these get our bodies in some positions and you could feel like you could stay there. That could be the whole yoga practice, just exploring that one spot. So if you've been on one side, maybe start to work your way over to the other side. Adding some nice warming up motions in the shoulders. For me, this kind of reaches into and back of the shoulder blades too. And then if you're sitting on a pillow or a prop, maybe move that off to the side and allow your feet to come flat on the floor, wider than hip widths apart, for some windshield wipers. I wore my striped socks for you guys today because, it's a rainy day. Mary, I knew you'd like my striped socks. Yeah, just exploring this opening through the hips. Kate's got her camera turned off, but I know she's maybe not breathing right now. So start breathing again, Kate. Deep breaths into those hips. And then the next time your knees drop both to the right side, we'll sit on that right hip. Right hand is behind the hip and left hand comes extending out behind, and we'll set up for some half circles. So we're going to sweep up onto the knees, lift, really feeling that opening from the knee through the left hip, psoas, right through the intercostal muscles of the ribs. Wow. Shoulder blade. And exhale, right hip comes back to the ground. Welcome, Anne. Inhale, lifting up again. We'll do this a few times, so make it your own pace. The exhale brings you back down onto your hip, and the inhale lifts you up. I like to come onto the fingertips of the right hand, so that gives me a little more lift. And imagine leaning back. You might even hold your head with your left hand, like you're leaning back over a yoga ball here, inviting the breath into the belly. And exhale, right hip comes back to the floor. Allow the knees to rock from side to side. Again. And then knees are going to fall to the left. Setting up here for half circles on this side. So my left foot is in front of my right knee. Left hand comes behind left hip. We sweep up with that right arm coming up onto the knees, onto the fingertips of the left hand. Big opening here. Knee to hip. Ribs open. Underarm, armpit opens. Exhale. Back to the floor. A few more times here at your own pace. The inhale brings you to lift and expand. Imagining that expansion, three-dimensional expansion of the breath. Inhale, lifting. This time coming high up on the fingertips of that left hand. Maybe your right hand comes to the back of your head. Inviting, if it's safe in your back, a leaning back, like you're leaning back on our prana energy ball. Supporting you here, inviting, opening through that right side body. Exhale, hips come back to the ground. We'll move on over to a tabletop position. Socks are coming off, friends. Sorry, warming up. They'll be back on, don't worry. So setting yourself up in tabletop. Hands are beneath the shoulders. Let's take a few cat-cow poses where belly drops and gaze moves forward. And then exhale, curling into cat pose. Feeling the opening across the shoulder blades, through the ribs here. Inhale, cow pose, exhale, cat. This time, let your hips come back to your heels, moving through a child flow. Elbows come to the floor as your torso slithers through your hands, bringing you back up to cow pose. Pelvis tilts into cat, and then child. Slithering, low center of gravity here. Inhaling, toes curl under. Let's add a downward dog into this flow. So finding your way into downward dog. And then back to your knees. Cow pose. Cat pose into child. Chin tucks as you slither through. Cow pose. Toes curl under. Inhaling to downward dog. This is one of my other go-to morning. If I don't have time to do anything else in the morning, this is what I do, because it gets at so many different parts of my body that need to be warmed up. So next time you find yourself into table, let's curl the toes, lifting into downward dog and walking out the heels now. I feel like when we're talking about winter and ice and staying grounded, we have to start from the feet up. So making sure that your feet are healthy, stretching out the toes, remembering to really put your weight into all four corners of your feet. So important. Let's inhale the left foot towards the sky for three-legged dog, and exhale, step the left foot through the hands, coming down on the right knee. You can pad your right knee here if you'd like. And just explore a little movement here in rocking back and forth. If you have blocks or anything to give you some height, this is a really nice place for blocks. Yeah, great to add pillows or blankets. And then let's slide that left heel out a few inches, coming into a runner's lunge. So in runner's lunge here, I'm sure we're all immediately feeling that stretch in the back of the left leg. Woo-wee, right, Mary? So nice bend in the left knee here. So the left knee doesn't have to be straight. And allow yourself, your hips to swing a little bit. So often we get into these stretches that are like, oh my God, I'm so tight. And we think we have to stay in a static position, but allowing that movement, the rocking, especially the breath. Without breath, we can't move out all of that really stuck the lactic acid in our muscles. And then we'll slide that left heel back. Hands come first to the left thigh, and then we'll lift the arms, grabbing the left wrist with the right hand, and we'll side bend first to the right, and then we'll switch the grip of the wrist. So left hand comes to right wrist, side bend to the left. If this is okay in your shoulders, just kind of find some neutral ground in your shoulder so you're not tweaking on that right shoulder. And then really just spend some time here allowing the opening in the right hip, the right psoas. This can definitely be done standing. Just shorten your stance so that you have balance, or you have something to hold on to nearby. Imagining that three-dimensional breath here, expanding to the right side body. And then exhale, hands come to the floor. We'll step that left foot back to downward dog. And then inhale, right foot towards the sky. Exhale, right foot steps between the hands, coming down onto the left knee, pad the knee. Pull in your blocks if you have them, at any height that works for you. And just now rocking here, allowing that opening in the left hip. My left toes are still curled under. And then right heel scoots out a few inches and toes point towards the sky. Walking my blocks back a little bit here. And then swinging the hips from right to left. I have a nice big bend in my right knee that allows a lot of opening in the hips. And right heel pulls back between the hands. Hands come up to the right knee, and we'll inhale, lifting here. We'll first grab the right wrist with the left hand, and we'll do a side bend to the left to start. And then switch the grip. Right hand grabs left wrist. Inhale the center. Exhale, side bend to the right. Taking at least 3 full rounds of breath here. Maybe letting the gaze come towards the right thigh. When I think of shoveling, I think of this part of my body. If my psoas is not stretched and strong, I'm going to hurt myself when I shovel, because the psoas connects our pelvis to our ribs, and shoveling is all about lifting and twisting. Oh my God, I can't believe we're getting back to that. Inhale to center, exhale, both hands come back to the ground, and we'll take a step here. We'll take as many steps as you need to step that left foot up to meet the right. And deep bend in the knees here. Allow yourself to just hang, ragdoll, swaying from right to left. Also, this part of the low back, thinking of this expansion across the backside, the low back here, across the pelvis, bringing breath and more mobility into this part of the low back and the hips. And then slow race, let your hands hang heavy. We're going to stack one vertebrae on top of the other, coming up so slowly, but imagining that point of light in your navel center, helping to lift you like there's a string that's pulling you up ever so slowly. Head is the last to lift. Finding your way back into standing. Let's put our hands on our navel center, finding your navel center here, and really just maybe have your feet wider than hips width distance apart. And a good way to really kind of tune into your navel center, I think, is to bounce on your heels. So let's do that. Let's do some lymphatic bouncing here. So we'll drop our weight really solidly into the heels, and all inhale together. And on an exhale, let your hands go, let it all shake out. Inhale. Bring that to stillness. Maybe rocking from one foot to the other. Imagining how strong and steady you are right here. Hands come to the side. Maybe shoulders come up to ears, and then shoulder blades engage strongly on the back. This is your strong mountain, right? You're so centered. Feel your feet on the floor, all 4 corners of the feet, maybe rocking from to the outside of the right foot, inside of the left, and then outside of the left, inside of the right. Getting your telly moves ready, shifting your center of gravity, but also calling into mind your 4 corners of your feet, rocking forward and back on your feet. So grounded. Feeling if you could pull energy up from the earth so that your quads are engaging, your knees are strong. Feeling that central point at your navel center, holding you, grounding you. Play with this as you move through your days here, as the weather gets colder. As soon as you step outside, call this strong, grounded energy in, where you're feeling alive and strong and well balanced, right? Low center of gravity. Okay, let's move that into a little breath of joy. So shake out, holding on to mountain. Feet are still wider than hips width apart. And breath of joy is 3 sips of inhale as our arms move forward, side, forward. And then we exhale with a ha. And if you're having any sensitivity in your low back, the ha is just a standing ha, or you can ha and forward fold, letting out all the air with your ha. So we'll inhale, 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 ha. Ha. Bring a little smile to your lips because it's breath of joy after all. Ha. 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 2 more. Ha. Feel your groundedness. Ha. And come back to standing. Allow the prana to move. Allow your fingertips to wiggle. Move in any way that you're being called to right now. Own your prana, your life force. It is in you, whether you're comfortable with that or not. It's there. Okay, so now we're going to get into a flow, and this is where you should move around to find anything that needs to help. You need to help balance. Just make it your own flow. No judgment zone. So we'll start with feet under hips at the front. Start at the front of your mat. And we'll inhale, hands lift and come into temple position overhead, or just hands not engaged. Take an inhale at center. We'll exhale, side bend to the right. And if you want to try a little extra move here, bring your weight into your right foot. Left foot steps behind the right into like a little ballet move. And feel that big opening again on the left side body. So my knees are bent. My left knee is tucked behind my right. I'm on the toes of my left foot. Inhale to center. Exhale, side bend to the left. Right foot steps behind to add a little extra opening on the right side body. Inhale, center. Exhale, hands release, knees bend, coming briefly into chair. Exhale, hands move behind the back and either hold behind the back or hold a strap behind the back. We'll inhale to stand, and exhale, we're going to move the hands to the left hip. And then we're going to pause here, and you move your chin and invite an opening in the neck and shoulder here. Opening the right side of the neck. What can you release? Can you release some of the gripping to allow prana to enter? And then we'll inhale and exhale, hands move to the right hip. So it looks like this behind my back. And then I'm just opening here, my right ear is coming towards my right shoulder, inviting breath and opening into that left shoulder, left side of the neck. And then we'll exhale, hands release back into chair pose. Feet, check that your knees are tracking over your feet, and we'll do a few squats here, 10 squats. So you get to choose how low you sit into your squat depending upon how healthy your knees are. And we'll add a little ha heat here. So we'll inhale, exhale, ha. Inhale, squat, ha. Ha. Make sure knees are tracking over feet. Ha. 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 I think that's about 10. So we'll do this again towards the end of this flow. And what you want to be thinking about, as we probably all know from doing some physical therapy at one time or another with our knees, is that you have like a band above your knees. So when you go into a squat, you're making that, engaging your quads so that they're really firing up when you're in your squat. Ha. So that's what, think about that band coming back into that. So let's come back, inhaling into our mountain pose, feeling the hands reach towards the sky, slight bend in the knees as we engage from the feet up, four corners of the feet, strong ankles, strong knees and quads, feeling the quads wrap around the femur, hips over knees. Ribs are not jutting out, but are tucking in towards the spine, just ever so slightly to engage that core center, shoulders over hips, head over shoulders. Inhaling here. Let's exhale and lift the left knee. So we're using our strong standing right foot as the inhaling the left knee to the chest. And then hands come to hips here and just play with extending and releasing that left leg. So you might be just close to the floor doing this and using anything you need to for balance, or you may try to really engage through that navel center and try to straighten your leg out more perpendicular. And this is where the fun really comes in. Hands come to heart center. Play with your balance here. Ice and snow is all about balance. We're kicking this left foot back into a bent knee, warrior 3. Just playing with balance. Your left toes can be close to the floor if you're having a hard time with balance today, or you might be able to straighten that left leg. Maybe arms come to the sides, warrior 3. And now slowly, how slowly can you bring those left toes to the floor behind you? And just land them lightly, and then weight comes back into the right leg. Left knee bends a few times here, just touching down and lifting back up. Woo! Hello, right leg. Great. And then left toes touch. Hands lift into warrior 1. Whew, catch your breath here. Maybe hands come to hips. And then your choice. This has been a lot of work so far, so you can make your choice here, but we're going to keep it going for the telly skiers in the group. We're going to drop the left knee and lift. So we want that right knee again tracking right over the foot as we do some knee bends. You can go as far as you want here, or your left knee can touch. We're going to do about 6 of these, and then feet point out. We're going to spin on the mat so that our feet are pointed forward. And now just adding some lunges in. Really important doing our lunges here again to make sure that the knees are not going out farther over the foot. Keeping that knee in line with the foot as you lunge. And imagining here too, you've got a big band so that your quads are super engaged. Kate would give us all the right terminology about engagement here. We're going to have Kate lead us in a ski season prep exercise class. If it's safe in your knees, and really take the time to figure this out, we're going to lower down into a squat over the right foot. So hands come to floor, knee bends, left toes turn towards the sky. If you know this doesn't work in your right knee, just come to sitting and you can stretch out on the right side. So from the squat, this is another one that I feel like I need to do every day, because my Achilles, if my Achilles and my heel isn't open, my knees are off. So just taking time here, if you have blocks and you can put a block under your seat to give you a little release, do so. Inviting breath into the back of that right heel. Maybe hands walk over towards the left leg to open in the left hamstring. And then hands coming in front to support. Left toes are going to come to the ground. As on an inhale, we lift and move our lunge to the left side. So taking time to figure out if this is safe in your body. Inviting breath and opening into the Achilles on the left side. Maybe you even walk your hands out and forward fold. Head drops, chin drops to chest. Hands walk towards the right leg to pause and open here on the right side. And then we're going to end up, let's do this because I think everybody's facing the screen. Let's all come up to do some more lunging here in the center. And then we're going to step our left foot to meet the right at the front of our mats. And right foot steps back. This time, I would have had you facing backwards on your mat. So we just set it back up. So now we've got the opposite foot. So we're going to bend into our knee drops here. We're going to do about 6. Inhale as you come up, exhale as you lower down, any amount. Keep an eye on that left knee. Make sure it's not going too far to the right or left, but tracking over the foot. And as you bring that to stillness, let's lift the arms into warrior 1. Feeling that opening in the right side of the hip, right hip flexor. And then hands come to heart. And we get to play here again with the balance. So thinking of that solar plexus, your navel center, where the light begins, moving your balance over your left foot and play with lifting that right foot. Knee can be bent and then stepping it back to the floor. Just notice the pivot point here. Where is the balance? Where are you finding balance? Can you step that right foot back to the ground so slowly and lightly that it's a totally slow transition? And then finding your version of warrior 3 this morning. It might be right toes on the ground, might be right knee bent. Hands might be at heart center, on the hips, or extended. Right hip wraps down towards the floor, and then inhale, right knee lifts towards chest. Let's pause here with knee, hand, and knee. And then hands come to hips. Slight bend in that left knee as we straighten and bend the right leg. So this can be done at any level. We're going to straighten and bend towards the floor or any amount. And then right foot comes back to the floor. Let's inhale, arms lift, exhale, sitting back into chair pose. Imagining now that strap across your thighs as we do 10 squats here, or any amount of squats. So we'll inhale with a ha and exhale. Ha, 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 ha. I've lost count, so let's call that 10. Inhale, hands lift towards the sky. Exhale, back into chair just briefly as the hands part and find each other behind the back. Inhale to stand. Really pause here and notice the opening across the chest. Exhale, hands move to the left hip. Left ear drops towards the left shoulder, opening on the right side of the neck. Inhaling, exhale, hands move to the right hip, right ear to right shoulder. Inhale, hands lift towards the sky, hands come into temple position as we side bend to the right. Bring our weight into the right foot, left foot steps behind the right knees, tuck, inviting a slight twist towards the sky here, opening on the left side. Inhale to center, exhale, side bend to the left. Weight comes into the left foot as the right foot steps behind. I think this is maybe called a plie. I never took ballet. I don't know. So looking up towards the right arm, finding your breath. Inhaling to center. And let's exhale. Let's all forward fold. Finding your ragdoll here. Walk the feet out as wide as the mat. Let yourself hang. Nod your head yes. Nod your head no. We'll move down. Toes point out. Heels come in as we move briefly through a squat. Malasana. Pausing here, maybe dropping. Maybe hands come to the insides of the knees and forehead comes to the thumbs. Pausing in this position of humility, knowing that as much as we aim to strengthen our physical bodies, that the key to moving through life with grace is finding our humility, finding our connection to the earth, and then allowing yourself to roll to your seat and finding your way to lying on the floor with feet bent. We started a little bit later this morning, so we're going to go a little bit beyond 9. If you need to leave right at 9, feel free. We'll just go a little longer. So finding your position here on the floor. Let's just take the knees to the chest, hands to the knees, and circle out the sacrum. So having a healthy sacrum is key to getting through the winter without injury. Taking the time to release the sacrum holds so much stress and tension, right? And then let's lower the feet to the floor. Hands come towards the heels. As we inhale, hips lift into a bridge pose. You can walk the shoulders in and find the hands, grasp the hands. I like to also just keep hands released at my side in robot arms. So fingertips are wide awake and pointing towards the ceiling. Feeling the inner line of the legs engage here. So from the arch through the inner calf, knee, inner line of the thighs, right up into the pelvis. And then can you relax in the belly to invite breath and feel a deeper opening across the chest. And then hands come to the floor, shoulders release, lowering one vertebrae at a time, maybe coming up onto your toes to allow those last few vertebrae to release towards the floor. Let's pause here, walk the feet out to the edges of the mat, knees tent towards one another. We'll inhale, lifting the hands towards the sky, and exhale, wrapping left arm in front of right. Hands come to opposite shoulder blades, elbows pointing towards the sky, maybe even walking the shoulder blades out. So you can give yourself a big hug here. Chin is slightly tucked, making us more of a C shape of the spine here, allowing all of those strong muscles of the spine to relax and release. We'll inhale, both hands lift towards the sky. Exhale, right arm in front of left, finding shoulder blades with opposite hands. Inhaling, hands lift towards the sky, knees come to straighten. We'll release hands to the floor and inhale, lift the left leg towards the sky, rolling out the left ankle. And then exhale, bending that left knee across, foot comes across the right thigh. This might be your figure 4 stretch right here, or you could inhale and lift the right leg, finding your grasp behind the right thigh. And just receive breath here. Perhaps you want to pause in stillness. Imagining that 3-dimensional expansion of the breath. Maybe rocking from right to left. Allowing the right foot to come to the floor. And then noticing, and hands coming to the side, noticing what it would feel like to drop that left foot to the floor, to the right, to come into a twist in this position. The left knee is still pointed generally towards the ceiling. Inviting an opening through the psoas again on the left side. Maybe your gaze moves over your left arm. And then inhaling, legs move to center. Exhaling, that left leg straightens and lowers to the floor. And then left heel slides to meet the right. Inhaling, right foot towards the ceiling and rolling out the right ankle. Exhale, right foot bends over the left thigh. Maybe pausing here. Inhaling, if it works in your body, to lift the left leg off the ground and find your grasp behind the left thigh. Releasing any tension you might be holding in your jaw, behind your eyes. Bringing a soft smile to your eyes, to the inner muscles of your jaw, to your throat. Perhaps rocking from side to side here, inviting breath into the deep, deep parts of that right hip. Exhaling, left foot comes to the floor, hands come out to the sides. Inhaling here, and then exhale, dropping the right foot towards the left. If this works in your body, if not, finding a twist that works better. Gaze might move over, looking over to the right. Can you soften your belly to receive both the twist and your breath? Inhaling, knees come towards center. Let's inhale that right foot towards the sky and exhale, slowly lowering right foot to the ground. And right foot slides up to meet the left. Taking any final movements here that would work in your body, maybe happy baby, grabbing the feet and rocking, maybe putting on some extra layers, finding pillow or blankets to support you in any way that would feel just right for your shavasana this morning. Maybe finding a wall and doing legs up the wall. Maybe even lying on your belly, using your hands to support your forehead. If you have a sweatshirt or something to put over your eyes, allowing your ankles to rock from right to left, allowing your head to gently move from right to left. Maybe finding just the slightest tuck of your chin towards your chest to release any holding in your neck Imagining the rain penetrating through your energy field and your physical body to help cleanse and clear, flush out anything that's no longer serving you. Receive the support of the earth. Taking in these words from John O'Donohue, his poem Vespers, allowing words to wash over you in your rest. As light departs to let the earth be one with night, silence deepens in the mind and thoughts grow slow. The basket of twilight brims over with colors gathered from within the secret meadows of the day and offered like blessings to the gathering tenebrae. After the day's frenzy, may the heart grow still, gracious in thought for all the day brought. Surprises that dawn could never have dreamed, the blue silence that came to still the mind, the quiver of mystery at the edge of a glimpse, the golden echoes of worlds behind voices, tense faces unable to hide what gripped the heart, the abrupt cut of a glance or a word that hurt, the flame of longing that distance darkened, bouquets of memory gathered on the heart's altar, the thorns of absence in the rose of dream. And the whole while, the unknown underworld of the mind turning slowly in its secret orbit, may the blessing of sleep bring refreshment and release, and the angel of the moon call the rivers of dream to soften the hardened earth of the outside life, disentangle from the trapped nets the hurt and sorrow, and awaken the young soul for the new tomorrow. Allowing some movement to come back into the fingertips and the toes. Feeling your breath arrive in your belly. Rolling over onto one side, pausing there, taking note of this transition between deep rest and movement. Knowing you can call forth this feeling of being connected to both worlds throughout your day. And eventually, without rushing and keeping your eyes gently closed, finding your way back to seated. Allowing your hands to come to heart center, maybe placing right hand on heart and left hand over right. Allowing your chin to bow slightly towards your chest. Taking a moment here to feel your strong heart beating. To trust that your prana is alive and well, your life force, your wisdom, and your light. Bringing hands to heart center. The bright light within me honors so much the bright light within each of you. Namaste.